All right, it is a five-setter in the Polish League. I assume it's playoffs. And it is Czestochowa versus Jastrzebski. So Czestochowa, whatever. Quinn Isaacson is the setter. He played at Ball State, I believe. He's an American guy, American setter. And then their hitters, I'm not sure. I haven't watched them in a while, but they're a pretty good team. Obviously, they took Jastrzebski to five sets, so they're a pretty good team. Fornal's he's the secondary. I guess Lukash, the right side's getting more attacks than him, which makes sense. I mean, right side's back row, whatever. But yeah, Fornal's like the guy, and then Toniutti's the setter here. And I mean, both teams very stacked, very good, very impressive teams in the Polish league here. And I mean, I like what Quinn Isaacson does as a setter as well. Like, watch him right here, the guy setting the ball. I think he's a very good setter. And then you got this guy. He's a French outside, I believe. Good hustle by him. Takes that short floater, gets in there, takes rip, just blasts it through the block, and it works out. It's a good dig by Quinn Isaacson though, and then this guy just takes a high deep swing over top of them. Really impressive there. Yeah, it should be a pretty good game though. I mean, 5 sets is usually a good tip. Huber. Who's Huber? I don't know. Why not, man? Why not try some of this stuff out? Like, if you have gym time after practices or whatever, like, and you have the energy and the, I don't know, your the health, I guess you could say, like your body's healthy enough just to goof around after practice and mess with some stuff, do it, man. If you've ever watched the podcast of, I think it was Out of Systems podcast with Engapeth, when they were talking about like his and Bruno's connection, he said like his coach just said, okay, after practice you guys can do whatever you want. You guys can just mess with stuff and do whatever you want in practice. And like, I don't know, I haven't been able to do that here in Denmark yet, but in college we would mess around after practice a good bit, do some different things. And I don't know, I feel like that is really good for your brains. It's good for your love of the game. It's good for playing as well, because obviously you saw that libero set the middle and it scored. So good hustle by the middle. That happens, whatever. Yeah, I would say Fornal is probably the best player on this court, but it doesn't mean that he gets the most sets just automatically, because like he's an outside, so I mean he doesn't get used in the back row as much as Lukash probably does, because like a right side kind of needs to be a serious option. And I really like this right here. He gets himself outside the court here so he could approach wherever, but then that ball's inside, he gets behind it. Look at his momentum, how it's going into the court still, and then he just takes it extra cross. Rips it through there. Really like that. Is that Bremy? Yeah, Bremy. I like Bremy, this guy right here in the middle. Watched him a bit. He's a pretty good middle. I saw something. I think I saw like a highlight, maybe I don't remember. I saw it on Instagram, but whatever. Good players, very good players. But it might have been Fornal stepping in and setting somebody. I don't know. But yeah, no, Fornal's a beast. He steps in, he sets sometimes. He's confident. Love it. I like this run, and this is why, like, like the front row options. You got 3 front row options here. And those 3 front row options are going to put way more stress on these blockers, way more pressure on these blockers than this guy will. And so he's going to get left alone. He's going to get forgotten a lot of the time. Obviously, he hits the tape here and kind of makes it a little bit weird, but it could just be just a straight to the floor type of ball. Good swing by Fornal. Again. Hit that seam twice in a row. If you find a seam that is working, hit it as much as you can. Go after it again and again. This one, actually, I might agree with someone calling it a carry. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I like the lefty tip though. It's something you definitely got to practice, definitely got to work on. You can't just bust it out of nowhere unless you're extremely athletic and just nice with it, you know. But yeah, most people, you got to practice that. I got to practice it. I haven't really been able to yet. Haven't gotten the chance really. But yeah, that's another thing too is like if you want to add a tool to your toolbox or you want to just add something new to your arsenal, you know, whatever it may be, or like add something to the offense, you gotta find time because like in practice when a coach gives you a practice plan and says, hey, this is what we're doing, a lot of the time you're not gonna be able to fit in those little things into it. Or like a libero who's like, hey, I really want to work on my serve receive today, and it's mostly just like transition drills, stuff like that, just free balls, whatever. If you have time after practice, have somebody serve some balls at you, get some focused reps, just get some good angles, stuff like that. You know, that's why it's good to have a good teammate that you know you can work hard with, you know. And this spacing kind of gets a little bit weird here because since he has to go all the way over top, since he has to go all the way over top here, but this route is already kind of far from the setter, this route gets really far. And then, yeah, just a little bit of a misconnection there. Yeah, those middle routes need to be clean because as a pipe attacker, you line up your approach based on that middle usually, unless if they're running the one. If you're going right on the setter, then just line it up with the setter. But like if you're going over the top of the middle, then yeah, you got to line it up with the middle. Nice reverse float. Yeah, Toniutti, he's a small setter. He's undersized, that's for sure. But I mean, both of these setters are fairly undersized. But again, when like you'll watch both of them do stuff like this, like they get moved off the net, they still get their hands on the ball, they jump straight up, and then they just hit their window, they put a really good ball up there. You know, I feel like some setters just some young setters, they forget about that. You know, like just focusing on putting up a really, really good ball. They focus too much on being deceptive and looking cool and doing something flashy or dumping or whatever. Focus on hitting the window like this right here. Okay, you're falling away from the ball. Look how he finishes his hands. Hits a really good set. That's what's going to win you some games. That's what's going to give you guys a lot of kills. That's what's going to allow your team to have a really high efficiency. Yeah, because like getting your feet under that ball, I mean, obviously they're passing pretty high right now, which is nice. It gives that setter time. But, yeah. Lukash, he's a big dude. I think he's Polish. I can't remember. I assume he's Polish. I mean, I don't know. I like this dude's patience here. I like how he waits on the ball, goes up there and attacks it. I think it's in. Yeah, look how he just kind of waits, rocks into it, and then goes up there and boom. And he's hitting the ball on his way up, too. Like, boom, hits the ball, then he hits his peak, and then starts going back down. You know? Like, especially out of system, that's a huge key, too. Hopefully, maybe I'll be able to see a good example of that soon, but we'll see. We'll see how this game plays out. He might be on that line. I cannot tell. Let's see. We got 24 to 19. And that's the first set right there on a missed serve. Yeah, okay. A little hybrid action. And, you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys really care, but I personally would, on a hybrid, I would say this guy takes this seam, Okay, this guy, and then this guy takes this seam. Because chances are the cut, if it's going straight here, based on where that guy's arm swing is going to be going, the cut is going to be enough to bring it to him. But if he's going this way, chances are the cut is not going to be enough to like fully bring it all the way back to him, just because of the angle that it's going at, you know? Like, if you draw the same line where it's got a little curve to it, then it lands here, okay? You know? But then if you draw that same line starting here and going towards here, it's going right to the libero. So I don't know. Hopefully that makes some sense. A lot of the time also, the hybrid doesn't have as much cut as a normal spin serve would. So that it still works out in that fashion, you know? Yeah. I hope that makes sense. So it's kind of, I mean, obviously maybe that 6-spot guy, if he's a libero, maybe he can make some moves into that seam still, you know? But I don't know, that's just what I would argue. That's what I would argue if I'm kind of setting that up. But like, I mean, it stinks. Maybe you want to bring someone else into the passing because the person in the 6-spot like really wants to be involved, you know? Maybe that guy needs to be in a seam, so he's taking extra court, who knows? But I don't know, that just makes sense to me. My nose is a little bit clogged up. Hopefully my nose or my voice isn't all messed up and sounding weird, but interesting choice. So, I mean, I don't know. Some people might not agree with me here. I assume that most people would. But I'm not a fan of one person dropping or staying down and then only one person being up there. You know, it's either all three guys, 2 guys, or no guys. Like, it should never be a solo block in a situation like this. Even if he's not taking that much away. But, like, what he ends up taking away is this guy's whole right side of his arm if he's up there blocking with him. So, like, it just kind of prevents that guy from getting tooled. But some people might argue, but then it's another guy that could get tooled. But the spacing, I think, I don't know. It depends. But most of the time, I would argue, try to go for a double block, a triple block, or no block. Obviously, if it's in system and you got to be solo, do it. But if it's semi in system or okay, my point is there should be a level of communication so that you're not just leaving your homie up there without him knowing it, without him knowing that you're dropping. Let's see. And yeah, this is why right sides would get more action, is because, like, no matter what, they're on that route, and like even on a bad pass, they're up there on an out of system play or semi in system, no matter what it is. And like that pipe attack doesn't really, like this. Let me see if I can see this serve again. This is what I'm talking about here. Is like this ball, it's not going to cut enough. Although this guy's a righty, it's Bremy. Although he's a righty, the cut is usually from, let's say, from this line over. Maybe a little bit further. It's usually when it goes towards this seam, it's usually not enough cut to where it goes back to him. So let this guy take it. It might be a little awkward sometimes. You might need to get used to it by throwing your serving machine over there and getting used to it. But then there's this where it cuts more. Obviously, it's a short serve. I know. I'm not stupid. But you can see how his arm swing ended up making it cut more, if that makes sense. But yeah, if it's right on the 6-spot, yeah, he should take it. If it's right there and he's a good passer, take it. But I'm just saying that's how the seams should probably be fleshed out. Okay? And, you know, I really like Fornal as a blocker. I think maybe he gets caught guessing and leaving early sometimes, but I assume he was supposed to take cross there. He obviously did. But that dude just kind of took advantage of the line. And that'll happen sometimes. sometimes you make a blocking adjustment and the dude's he just handles it. He just sees it and adjusts. It's a good swing. Deep to that corner. Swinging deep. Swinging hard. Finding some good hand contact. I like it. Whoa. And I feel like a tempo kind of needs to be discussed and like understood of what that tempo is going to be on. But I don't know. It's a weird one. Probably not the cleanest play, but hey, it works out. The ball's still alive. Somebody's in the net. It's a good dig, but nobody's in the net. Okay. Good run. Yeah, but that pipe, I don't know, that pipe really should be used well. Like that. You should use your pipe as much as you really can. Obviously you don't want to use it every single time that's available or else they're just going to commit on it. But like, it should be a very regular piece of your offense and system, Good for this guy. So sometimes if you're early, you just got to hold it as long as you can and then drop as you're going down. Like, he's a little bit early on the block, but then he just holds it, doesn't make any moves, holds it, still reaches high, and gets the block. Presses as much as he can in that, Let's see this. Again. Like, he's falling away from that ball. That ball is going away from him. That ball is going towards him. Even though it cuts to here a little bit, it doesn't cut enough to where the momentum of the ball gets back to him. It's still mostly towards him. Okay. Hopefully this makes sense. But like, that's why hybrids and spin serves from over here have been so effective, is because like the seams are not as predictable, That's why I started serving from the 5 a little bit. A little action on there. Yeah, through the seam. That'll happen. Sometimes you'll leave a seam as a blocker. You'll leave a seam sometimes. It just is what happens. Okay. In system, you can't be perfect. Semi-in system, you should start really expecting more from yourself. Yeah. Lots of missed serves now. All right, we got a floater. Rolling it off the tape there. Going over the top. And if you're running this route with your middle and this setter is good enough to go everywhere, but you're this guy, that high cross is going to be available. Because look at the move that the middle makes a lot of the time. He has to wait and see if he's set in the middle. He has to see if he has to jump, and then he's just not. And then he has to just hop over there and put his hands over the net. Obviously, the dude's still tall. He's huge. But it's not as big of a block move as he normally could if he was making a full swing block, So that high cross is going to be good. And that's why I always like to know where my middle's running his route. Even if I'm front row or back row, doesn't matter. I always like to know where they are, just to know, just to see, just to kind of maybe give me a heads up on where the middle might be, And it also, I can take that a step further and say, oh, I think that dude's going to commit, so I got that sharp cross all day. Or I don't think he's going to commit. I think he's going to come out to me, so I got to just really make sure I'm going to do this. Or I think that the right side blocker is going to kind of bite on the middle, so maybe I'll have some line or high line, whatever it might be. Like I can just kind of play off of how the game's going so far, and then kind of use that to my advantage maybe. Good cover. Covering something I gotta really start working on. Nope, out of bounds. Okay, we got 19-19. I think Jastrzebski wins this game, no? Nice. I don't know. This is a fine swing, but yeah, it just sneaks by the block, And that's just leaving a little bit too much line there. But again, this is what I'm talking about, is like, if he's waiting here and waiting on this middle, then he might not close the line as much as he needs to. So, yeah, there's that. Reverse flow to that back or right side. It's not a bad swing, though. Tibbins block, nice, good touch. I saw some drills on Instagram where it was like hitting off a box or doing pepper where like the third person stands in the middle and goes with block touches and stuff. I like that kind of stuff. I think it's good for priming your brain to be ready to move and stuff like that. I love this. And then like if you're middle, like look at how you got 3 options on this half of the court, 1 option over here. So these guys decide, okay, let's just cheat. Let's get up there. And then boom, they leave him alone. I like it. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, really good choice by Toniutti too. I don't know if you saw him. Let's see. I just want to watch Toniutti here, see if he maybe you saw him on the way over when he was running. He sees where he sets up. Maybe no. He's just a baller. That's all. He gets a no block. Very nice. But hey, the passers are just as responsible for that no block as Toniutti is. I guess no touch. Ooh. Whoa. Somebody went under. Yeah. Recently I had a game and I was just struggling to get clean defensive touches, and I saw one by Lukash right there. Yeah, just stay loose. Learn how to just throw the ball to the ceiling. Maybe get your hands on the ball as much as you can by really doing good footwork, but yeah, try and close the line out of system. But it's a really nice swing. And what's his name? Indra. Yep. I remember last time I watched Czestochowa, I put him on the thumbnail, I believe. Oh, wow. They call this out? Oh, that looks into me. That looks into me. But maybe they challenged it and it was truly out. Gosh, yeah, this injury guy, he's taking some pretty nice swings. But, well, the foot dig helped him out there. And yeah, like, transition is such an important thing because you're going to get called to take a ball right there and then 2 seconds later, take a swing. And you got to transition hard. You got to turn and run, get yourself a big lane so you can be as physical as possible. Czestochowa starting strong with a 2-0 lead here. Wow. Yeah, Fornal stepping in with the hands. Yeah, don't be afraid because look at how little he has to move. He's literally standing there where that ball is. Takes 1 step forward, boom. Puts up a good ball, they get a kill. Oh, I got some freaking mucus in my throat, I think. Ooh. Yeah, not the best pass there. Ooh, I like that. Off the hands. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that is tough to train, if I'm being honest, too. Like, swinging off the hands is kind of something that's just that one. I said earlier, like, you got to train some stuff, but I mean, that one's a tough one because every blocker is different. Every set is different, and it's just like aiming way past the court. Like, you can't be trying to swing in if you're truly trying to hit fingers, unless you're really, really jumping over top of people, but nice. Let's see. I think it looks like Fornal's trying to go for a little recycle there. And this is why going for a little recycle is not a bad thing, because, it doesn't work out for them, but then it puts them in a little scramble situation where this is the offense that they're running now. And it's a tight pass, overpass. And yeah, and then they get a tip. They're out of system now. Good for this middle to be aggressive, but he got absolutely clamped. Yeah, there's going to be times when a middle has to do that. There's going to be times when a middle has to step in and set. There's times when everyone kind of does something that's out of their position, let's say. But, you got to understand the situation enough to where, as a middle, swinging out of system, if it's the third ball, you got to understand that, you really got to, they're going to commit on you. You're going to have a good block up there, so you got to take a good swing. You can't just swing away. Good pass. Through here. Yeah, and this is the downside of wide blocking. Is, the let's say undisciplined swing that goes to the 6, that one scores. So that kind of stinks, So there's very few situations where I would recommend going for a wide block and having that be your basis. There's some, but especially if you're Bremy and you can just go up and reach, you're that lanky and tall and you jump well, go up there, reach for the ball, and then play off of that. Bukash, swing high. It's a nice swing. Indra. Good dig by Toniutti. Ball's tight to the net. Love this. Go up and be aggressive, man. When that ball's tight to the net, go up and be aggressive. Because, even if they get that ball up, they're out of system. It's not like they're in system. Okay, so, yeah. When that ball's tight to the net, go up and do something good. Gosh, nice serve. I love the reverse flow here. And you'll see how he gets his body weight on the opposite side of the ball here. Most of his body weight, if not all of his body weight, is on this half of the ball. And then he just flicks it. Well, just a little bit more than flick. But you see that you track this middle, he moves over. And then he doesn't have time to close. He doesn't do the worst job at closing there, but yeah, a little reverse flow action is really nice. And that's something I feel like setters should work on a lot, because then you're not so pass determined. A pat. I'll just start. I don't know. I don't know if other people use different terminology or what, but I'm just gonna call it a passing determined setter. Is a setter who, every single time, wherever the pass is, that's where they're setting. And they can't make any decisions outside of that, because, either they don't have the ability or they just don't like doing that, whatever. But, yeah, don't be that. Don't be that. Be a setter that no matter where that ball is, you can set whoever you want. That's the ideal setter. Let's see where this pass goes. 2 perfect passes right as I'm trying to make a point here. But let's say, yeah, right here. These guys, look at their blockers. They kind of stutter step a little bit. They look, and then they have to wait, and they have to go do something, and they end up out of system because of it. Well, semi-in system. But yeah, just because the pass is somewhere doesn't mean you should be pinned by that pass, I don't know I wonder if other people have different terminology for that, or if anyone really talks about setters like that. But I'd say this guy, obviously it's kind of a weird play, but ooh, we're getting freaky. Good spot. Yeah, I like that. And like this is quicker for him. Like he doesn't have to draw his arm and then do anything. Like this is so much quicker. So I do like that on an overpass like that in a transition type play. Just kind of throw it down somewhere, kind of dunk it. Let's say, you know, but like if that setter's back row, which you should know that before the play, you should be calling that out. And you get an overpass, blast that sucker. Okay. Because if you tip it, chances are on a serve receive pass like this, like let's say overpass right here. Everyone's looking at that ball. Everyone's moving forward towards that ball. So if you try to dunk it, chances are they're going to be able to track it down and maybe touch it, unless you put it in a real weird spot. But like if Toniutti was a pass determined setter, let's keep calling it, then he would not be able to set a middle when that ball's right there, you know. But then it puts them out of system, gives them a 2 option, puts them in a good situation. Now they can run. Yeah, maybe they can run their offense a little better there. Fornal gets a better touch, but then they get the kill off of that. What was I saying? Yeah, on overpasses, take a rip, man. Take a rip on the serve receive balls. Transition, cool. Like you never know where people are gonna be in transition, so just dunk it where you see open space. Ooh, big old block there. Yeah, but serve receive, if it's a back row setter, take a rip, man. Front row setter, maybe you gotta dunk it because that person might be up there with you, but back row setter, chances are nobody's gonna be up there, so that's your chance to make a cool highlight. It's your chance to have some fun with it. I love it. And you see how Fornal finishes his pass, and then as he's finishing his footwork, like as he's rising up, he just plants. It's so smooth. He's right into it. There's no extra footwork. It's right off of this. He goes into it. Bang. Gets a kill. Really nice. Hello. Good for this guy to drift into that line and just close it. And I like that. You know, I like this partially because, like, since they're having Toniutti drop, like, that dude's probably going to challenge that line there. Because if Toniutti stays up, he's probably going to challenge Toniutti. So taking away that line is just especially important in that scenario, you know? Nope. Yeah, let's see here. Decent pass here. But yeah, like, just because that pass gets moved backwards, he's not, okay, I have to go Lukash. No, he can still go everywhere. He can still find a middle's window, and that middle can take a rip. Let's see here. Floater, perfect pass by Fornal. Over the top. Oh, I did not expect that. Look at the side. Look at how much. Again, he finishes his pass, and it's right into it. Like, right as he finishes that pass, it's right into that footwork. And then, boom. Like, he's not relying on not getting served so he can run it. And, I mean, I've fallen victim to that is, I pass a short float, and then I can't take a good approach on my back, on my pipe, you know? I've fallen victim to that, for sure. Don't do that. Don't be a victim. Also, don't do this. Don't turn and be whiny. I'm a huge fan of Fornal, but sometimes, yeah, when he does that kind of stuff, it does make me question his mental fortitude. Oh, wow. The pull of the hands actually worked that time. Out of bounds. I gotta get rid of this dang pencil. Injuries are ripping right now.